French Shalom and greetings to you all. I hope you had a great time dancing around with the Torah as Sukkot ended. And we celebrated the great book of instruction with Simchat Torah, a celebration of life, a celebration of the instruction. And we now begin again. When I get to the bottom, I go back to the top of the slide where I stop, turn, and I go for a ride till I get to the bottom and I see you again. Yeah. But unlike so many books or movies, where we know how it ends and do not do it again, we relish our ability to read it again because we get something new and different each and every time. This was a book designed to be read once you've already read it. You revisit it, knowing how it will impact what will come, and what comes is read with the knowledge of what was established early. It is truly unique. There had never been another book written like this. History had never been told like this. God had never been depicted like this. The Torah's accounts are the first human attempts to recount history. Every year we complete our journey through the Bible. And then we begin again. And we have shared this journey, not unlike the journey of the wilderness generation, as we, each of us, cross our own wildernesses of lack and fear. But we have learned things on our journey. We learned keys to excellence and happiness, things we can easily do. We can become more mindful, therefore less detached. We can become more approachable, therefore less exclusive. We can become more accepting, therefore less judgmental. We can become more self-giving, therefore less self-absorbed, and we can become bolder, and therefore less fearful. And remember, my friends, fear is your only true enemy. Now, this expanded awareness opens us to real relationship with others and with the world around us. We are nourished and enriched by the pleasure and wonder of each moment. Friends, when we relax and allow awareness to expand, we become less caught up in whatever has magnetized our attention. As a result, we will suffer less. These are the things we can always work on. We're about to begin our journey again. You will build on what you learned last time, but you will see things differently. You'll be struck by passages that didn't have the same impact before. So let's all join together and gather as we all gather in a group celebrating common belief and faith as a community, a collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, any and all faith. Love, any and all love, a chavura, a fellowship. Expressing our nature of kindness. Compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. Sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay, and even though together, we're always individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her or their own way. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all, to gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Come together. Hine Matov. Shevet Achim Gam. Hine Matov. Shevet Achim Gam. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. Together. Let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Together, my friends. This is your setting aside a little bit of sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's a part of our kavanah, our intention. You all put it out into the universe. It's your goodwill. So monitor your attention. It's the root of what you can control, of what you can fix. Intention. It's everything, my friends. So let's take some time now. Let's use that intention. Send some of that goodwill, some light and some healing. Renewal out to everyone you know that needs it. Healing and renewal for everybody, because it floats through space, finding those in need. So send it out for those you know, for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It is for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world, the tikkun olam. Part of our spiritual genetic makeup. We have to help heal the world. It's not a job for us to complete. It is an ongoing task we must each deal with in this lifetime. Always has been. Always will be. We must each do our part. And part of the healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. Let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts for Tony and Kiara, for Luke and Doria, for Scotty, for Fern, for Dave, for Nina Panina, for Anne, for Gloria, for all of our animal friends everywhere, for Terry, for the whole world, and for the buzzing bee. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, the goodwill and love we also have. It just circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Avocado, Makor, Bibotenu. May the source of strength bless the one there for us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Ishberach, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing. Call upon God to heal as He's healed before. Me, Shaberach, may He who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now this week we go back to the beginning. We read beresheet, in the beginning. Now what can you say about a book that's been around for close to 3,500 years that hasn't been said before? Well, there's always something. The Hebrew name beresheet means at the head of or the start of. It's very apropos. But in the beginning, much catchier. But it's misleading. Genesis 1:1, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim va'et haaretz. In the beginning, when God began to create heaven and earth. And most people picture God entering an empty space. It's starting to create ex nihilo, from nothing. It's all clear, waiting. But that's not quite what it was. It continues. And the earth had been, welter and waste, shapeless and formless, and darkness over the deep. Notice it said the earth had been. Here's a case in which a tiny point of grammar makes a difference. That is, it had already existed in the shapeless condition prior to the creation that we're actually reading about. The creation of matter in the Torah is not out of nothing. There was already an existing mass of welter and waste already sitting there. And from this pre-existing mass, creation takes place that we read. And that creation is by separating and dividing creation from segregation. Nowhere does the Torah claim to be telling events from the beginning of time. We're much more familiar with this book by another name, Genesis, which is more of what it's kind of about. The English name Genesis comes from the Septuagint, which means 70, and it's named for the group of 70 scholars who were put together and worked to create the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible. Now, Genesis is a Greek word that means origins. Therefore, the Greek name for the first book of the Bible means the book of origins. Genesis describes the origins of everything. It begins with the origins of the universe, focuses on the origins of man, and then explores the origins of the nation of Israel. By and large, the first 11 chapters of Genesis are concerned with origins, not eventualities. It is concerned with the past, not the future, and it can be hard to believe, but the cosmic Bible is really only the first 11 chapters and only the first two parshas, Bereshit and Noah. And unfortunately, the cosmic Torah left out the best book of all, the book of Enoch, the man who had the distinct privilege of walking with God. And if you want to read a phenomenal book, read the book of Enoch. The God of the Torah was different than had been seen before, creating all of nature, and therefore not knowable or identifiable through any one element of nature. One can learn no more about this God by contemplating the sea than by contemplating grain, sky, or anything else. The essence of this God remains hidden. One does not know God through nature, but by the divine acts in history. One never finds out what God is, but rather what God does and what God says. Now, the primeval history in contrast to what follows in Genesis, cultivates a kind of narrative that's fable-like or legendary, even mythic. The human actors in these stories are kept at a certain distance, and there seem more generalized types than individual characters with distinctive personal histories that we meet later on. The human creature is now to be represented not against the background of the heavens and the earth and civilization, but rather with the tense, constricted theater of the paternal domain, in tent and wheat field and sheepfold, in the rhythms of existence, working out all hopes of grand destiny in the twist of familial relationships, the internal, sometimes deadly warring of brothers, fathers, and sons, and wives. As we reflect upon the first week's reading from the book of Genesis, we're going to learn a great deal about God, but even more about ourselves. After all, this is the story of our origins. When properly understood, the story of our origin helps us find our destination. Our origin was in the Garden of Eden. And like when we discover Shangri-La, if we leave, we need to get back. Our lives are dedicated to our individual return to Eden. These first 11 chapters establish the connection between God and the entire universe. They depict the formation of a relationship between the Creator and all the families of the earth. That relationship will remain as the crucial background to the story of Israel that will take up the rest of the Torah. But never forget, God's relationship is with all the families of man. Now, this is such a powerful reading. Look at what it covers, and this isn't everything. The 6 days of creation and the Sabbath, which is so important to the entire process. A second account of creation. I remember when Adam is created, is not a name, but a genus. We get the first perceived sin and its punishment, and to call it a sin is wrong. The humans ate from the tree of knowledge of good and bad, a great gift we were all given. And with it, the most interesting character in the Bible and the only talking animal until the end of the story. The first murder, when Cain murders Abel, and it was murder determined by intent. We see the beginning of civilization form. We're informed about Adam's descendants to Noah and his sons, and that was simply to get us to Noah. And then we find out about the wickedness of humankind, the regret of God, the formal choice of Noah. Wow, there's so much there. You can talk about any of these. And I have. There's even a biblical book left out of the official canon, almost specifically devoted to that last part, the wickedness of man, and what appears like his stupidity. We read about the story of the angels, the birth of the giants, a book which when you read it, you wonder, so what's changed? You have to end up asking yourself why people who know better don't seem to know better. The sun is burning, it never changes. The people look up with nothing in their eyeballs. They stare at billboards as if for guidance. There's something wrong here, I can't put my finger on it. Same thing, same day, everyday stupefaction. Oh yeah. Now, one of the great problems is we read this book in translation. No one reads the original. And there are many poor translations of terms and words. And you have to remember the Torah was written without any vowels and without any knowledge of how the language was truly pronounced. It's mostly guesswork. For example, one of the most common letters and frequently seen in the Bible is the letter Vav, which we would pronounce as a V, such as in David, in Hebrew, David. But in biblical Hebrew, the V was really pronounced as a W, and the second D in David was actually pronounced as TH. And so that makes David or David, Dawid. Now say that today and no one knows what you said. But that's what the biblical Hebrew actually would have been like. The Torah or Bible as read it now and pronounce it now was guesswork put together, and we call it the Masoretic text. And that wasn't written until between 600 of the Common Era and 1,000 of the Common Era, at least 7 centuries after the book was written. So don't let anybody tell you you're doing anything wrong, since we don't really know what's right. This book is about us and what we do and how we do. It contains the building blocks of life. Do we create from nothing? Or do we create from raw materials, whatever they may be? Everything we do is raw materials. And 4 spiritual parts, the 4 elements of creation. The 4 parts essential for everything that succeeds in life. And those are represented by the spark of an idea, the intellectual working out its formation, the emotional feeling of it, and the movements of action to begin bringing it to fruition. Right? Earth, air, water, fire. Everything you've ever succeeded at had all 4 of those clicking on all cylinders. Anything you thought never did was missing at least one. Now there's 3 types of creation that's talked about. 2 in this story melded together, and 1 viewed completely differently. But because this great book is read in translation, almost exclusively, there are problems throughout with how things get translated. And I will point them out as we go along. And I want you to pay special attention to the word the deep. In the beginning of God's creating the skies and the earth, when the earth had been shapeless and formless, the darkness was on the face of the deep. And God's Spirit was hovering on the face of the water. As often as we read these words, they never lose their majesty or their mystery. Behind the account in Genesis of a solitary God creating the universe by himself lies, it would seem, a much older, pre-Hebrew myth in which the world was created by many gods who battled with each other while creating it. This hint is found only in the Hebrew in the word tahom, translated in the King James Version and therefore just about everywhere else as the deep. Now, since tahom is a word that occurs many times in the Bible, always in the sense of watery depths, this translation has never been challenged. It was only in the late 19th century that as archaeologists and scholars began to discover and decipher ancient Mesopotamian cuneiform inscriptions, and with them the mythology of the long-vanished Babylonians who wrote them, that an interesting similarity was noticed between the word tahom and the female biblical deity Tiamat, who figures prominently in Babylonian creation legends. Tiamat, the goddess of salt water, along with Apsu, the god of sweet water, the 2 original deities in Babylonian cosmogony from which everything else came into being. Now, in the words of the Babylonian poem of creation, whose composition that we have dates at least to the 12th century before the Common Era, although the myths it retells are much, much older, when there was no heaven, no earth, no height, no depth, no name, when Apsu was alone, the sweet water, the first begetter, and Tiamat, bitter water. When there were no gods, when sweet and bitter mingled together, no reed was plaited, no rushes muddied the water, the gods were nameless, natureless, futureless. Then from Apsu and Tiamat in the waters, gods were created, and the waters silt precipitated. Now many began to believe Tihom and Tiamat were the same. When the Bible was put together, the people were familiar with the great Sumerian and Babylonian creation myths, and they drew upon them in the book of Genesis. In the Babylonian creation myth, she's the raging female monster of chaos, or the sea. And she's represented variously as a cow, a goat, a dragon, or woman, and is slain by Marduk. Out of the 2 halves of her body emerged heaven and earth. The primeval flood, the deep of Genesis, tahom in Hebrew, is a term originating in the mythology of the Babylonian Tiamat. Now, what about the second term in that opening verse? The Hebrew word ruach, usually translated in Genesis as spirit, has the primary meaning of wind. Was God's Spirit that mysteriously moved upon the face of the waters originally Marduk's wind howling in the face of Tiamat? Is Genesis' description of the universe at its inception, before the creation of light, a radically reimagined, reworking, and demytholized rendering of the Babylonian legend? One in which primal matter is no longer represented by gods, where the monotheistic grandeur replaces polytheistic savagery. It's quite possible, especially since there is very strong evidence that the story of Tiamat, or something very close to it, was known to the Israelites at biblical times. We see the creation actually took place from welter and waste of pre-existing matter. Go back and take a look. See what occurred at that lightning bolt of creation, that Big Bang, that set a process going leading to the formation of earth and sky. Skies above, skies below, water above, water below, land, birds, animals, man. All from the mass of everything meshed together that was already there. This was not creation from nothing. This is creation from something, except for one thing. Genesis 1:3. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. That was the one thing created. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. Say, it's all right, sun, sun, sun. Here it comes. Now this floating mass would have seemed like a cold, dark, lonely winter. After this, everything became a product of separation, division, and distinction. And that becomes the dominant theme of the rest of the Bible. And perhaps our life even still today. Separation, division, distinction. More than you would ever have imagined. Yes, my friends, the world's sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. An end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we're a community. We learn together. We celebrate each other. We love each other. We share this right together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. And enjoy the journey. Because we take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week. A week of love and light. A week of peace. A week of miracles. Examine your intentions and use them to imprint your will on the universe. Because we set in motion all that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our caveat, our cause, our effect. It's all linked. As I've said, you always have time to forgive and be forgiven because you have the knowledge of what's good and bad. You get it this week. So acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask for forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who you hurt. You should learn to be forgiving and compassionate because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So do not stop your journey. Keep on dreaming. Keep on moving towards your own promised land. Keep on being. Keep sharing. Keep shining. Keep teaching. We're all teachers. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love, because it's always in front of you. And remember to have faith. An unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and of all of you. Act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all people know peace in this year. May you nurture kindness and love everywhere. Work to be present in the body. Expand the heart, quiet the mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and the ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Let's make the most of your time in this life. Continue to touch and transform lives around you because you're never alone. You're forever blessed. You have the ability to bring blessings to everybody you meet, health, love, and renewal to everybody you come across. We're all energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Your words are your power to transform, to love, to bless. So be generous with them. As you bless others, you bless yourself. Love with the heart, because we're all part of a greater whole connected. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger, and be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and belief, and do not accept shame as a natural state. Shame was the first emotion we read about in the Bible. Whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together, we learn together, and we help each other. Because we're each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our life, so find them. Tell them what they mean, and remember, you're never alone on your journey to your promised land. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Continue to ask why. Continue to honor and elevate the souls and spirits of those who came before. And remember, you were given that great gift of knowledge. Use it. God is there to help. And remember, fear is your only true enemy. Open your eyes and see the light. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. None of the dark clouds that had me blind. Gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Yes, it is, my friends. It's going to be a bright, sunshiny day. Thank you for joining me. Keep sharing the light. Keep exercising forgiveness. Be thankful, be gracious, be kind, be loving. Believe in yourself. Have a little faith. Continue to spread a little goodwill over the world, and continue to be the miracle in someone's life. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye.